Hello, everybody, and welcome to another cup of self-empowerment to trust, heal, and be thyself. I'm absolutely delighted. I've been waiting for this cuppa for a very long time, so it's been brewing in the background, and I'm delighted to welcome the wonderful Jayme Rose Gray into our Healing Cuppa Hub today. Welcome, Jayme. And
Hello.
for those of you who don't know who Jayme is, I'd just like to give you a little bit of background information so you can feel into this beautiful energy of this wonderful lady today. So Jayme Rose Gray is a soul purpose guide and a business coach who is here to help conscious entrepreneurs, mamas and mystics, earth guardians, spiritual illuminators, creators and leaders, just to name a few. Her mission is to empower, support and help others to get aligned with their soul's purpose and to help make a brighter planet for the next generations to come. Jayme is the creatrix of multiple companies, soul projects and experiences, including the Tracking North Tours & Co., the Soulpreneur Society, What is Movement, Earth Guardian Mastery, the World Moon Society, the New Earth Illuminators, and many more. And these are all birthed from soul, all inspired by purpose work, and are all fulfilling the needs of her communities and obviously the New Earth too. So after a few decades of sales and helping large corporations make millions of dollars, Jayme realized it was time to help everyday women to get their gifts out into the world and to explore the possibilities of financial freedom. And Jayme creates in response to the needs of her spirit and soul aligned communities all around her. So welcome. Wow, you've been busy.
Hearing that spoken back to me is whoop,
I
whoop.
know it's powerful, isn't it? When someone, and that's why I really like that moment when, you know, I can really introduce you here, because I think we forget how much we're showing up and how much we've not only showed up for other people, but most importantly for ourselves. So thank you. And thank you for being here as well. Yeah. So let's get cracking on the first question, which I have to you. You know, you've done all this amazing stuff. There's more creations bubbling in your cauldron and coming through to you. And yeah, big purpose work is out there and is definitely the life that you are living. But how did you actually start trusting yourself to do that? How did your personal journey actually unfold, especially when you look back now and see how far you've come, you know? How did you trust that call?
You know, when this right away, my spirit wants to say, I felt aligned to this work as a child, to be
Mhm.
completely honest.
Yeah,
I felt very mystical and magical as a child.
well, that's
And
cool.
even though I went through my life going through school and going through systems and going through into institutions, I feel like I never really lost that magical part, but I learned how to hide her. And
Mm,
I learned how to fit in and get along and be humorous and play the real world game. But
yeah.
there was always that little flame, just knowing I was meant for more. I had big things to fulfill, big things to create and to bring to planet Earth. And I really just had to wait. It was kind of just like this waiting for the spark to happen.
Okay.
Right. And then as I started to get older and had as you like, in my bio, you can see like great jobs. I was helping big names, big corporations make a lot of money. And I'm so thankful I learned how to do that because it really gave me a great base and background to help women in business. Right.
Mhm.
You know, but I would say the moment where I started to really lean in and trust myself was the 2012 awakening. I have to talk about that,
No,
like for
go for it. Really, we want to know.
right, like, I know I'm not alone here. How many of us, how many light workers on the planet were activated in that 2012 awakening?
Mm.
For me, that looked like giving up alcohol and every substance in a weekend. Yeah, giving up meat, became vegetarian, quit my corporate job where I was making six figures in New York City back then,
Mhm.
and went to go into the healing industries and went to get certified in yoga. It was like I woke up, and it was like,
Walk in and someone else has got up the next day. You went to bed, the next person, someone else woke up, basically. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
And I think this story is helpful because so many other people felt that. And we didn't stop at that 2012 awakening. We experienced one in 2014 and 2016, 2018, 2020. It was almost like every couple of years there's these cycles. And
Mm,
the way I like to explain it to people energetically, I do a lot of like energy grid work, and I think it's helpful to give imagery around it. What
definitely.
what I view as this when we get like an upgrade or we get a level is almost like a ribbon of light that gets shuffled around the planet. And you
Mhm.
can either hop on that ribbon of light and take that ride,
Cool.
right? Or in your in your sacred choice to be like, no, you know what? I don't really need that upgrade right now with all those people. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I don't think these upgrades stop, so I had this awakening in 2012 with
Okay.
millions of others. And I've continually said yes to those ribbons of light that are lifting me to a new octave. So
I'm really
I've
liking this ribbons of light. It's really, because if you're someone who can visualize this is really, because it's like you say, it's like that. It's not plain sailing, it's bumpy. So
it's
you
bump
really are riding that wave of ribbon. Yeah.
and you can feel others on it. When you can like consciously really anchor into that light, you can
Mm,
feel others on it, which I think needs to be shared and said to people listening because it helps
yes.
you feel a lot less alone.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
We're not alone in this. And you work with angels and I work with angels. We literally have legions of angels,
We do.
especially right now in the year 20, what are we, 2023? Legions of angels supporting us on this path right now.
Yeah.
So for me, that started in 2012, and then it just kept going all the way to the point where I really stepped away from corporate, and it was the scariest thing I've ever done was to step away from that security, that
Yeah.
matrix is really what it is, and to say,
Mm,
I can do this. I'm being called to greater things. I know this deep in my soul since I was a child,
yeah.
right? Remembered it on a soul level coming in, and I just had to take the leap. It was not easy. It was not, always a good time. It was challenging, but that's where the growth is.
I can imagine completely, and I completely get that. And I think a lot of people can really resonate with what you're saying there. So, just an aside, what would you recommend to people who are listening today who are at that point where the calling is so loud and the trust is just not quite there because of obviously, we've been molded into these little models of, we've got to make sure we're secure, we've got to make sure we've got everything sorted, we've got to make sure we feel safe. And, of course, we always say the universe is going to catch us, but that's a huge statement to make if you've got a mortgage or something like that, or kids or anything. Or as you say, I mean, come on, you were saying you had a six-figure income. That's not something you can just brush under the carpet and say, oh, I'll be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great question. I love answering this question, and no one's going to like the answer. LOL. I'm a Capricorn, so I have to say, there's this voice, and you see it in marketing, in the spiritual world of marketing, of just jump, just quit, just jump. And I'm like, no, listen, we can't jump off the ship into shark infested waters without building a raft to get us to the island of our creations.
Well said.
Another great vision, right?
Yeah.
So this is like when I quit that first corporate job, it was an overwhelming sensation that I had to move into this healing industry. But I
Mm,
didn't just go then get a yoga certification, did that. I immediately started saying instantly, what is something I could do instantly? What are the signs and signals the earth, Mama Earth is giving me right now? What is
yeah.
my spirit giving me? I ended up becoming a dog walker.
Remember you
I
saying this,
I
yeah.
right? So it's like one of those, so I left this corporate, big mega gym, New York City party girl lifestyle,
Mhm.
throw on dirty jeans and go walk dogs all day. It was a women-owned business.
But it must
I
be actually quite liberating, actually.
I was like, it was like 100 pounds came off me. I was with animals all day. I mean, talk about I was healing
Yeah.
myself from addiction. I was healing myself from abuse, basically self-abuse, and a lifestyle that wasn't serving my body, mind, and spirit anymore. And then I was like, I went to go get dog food and I just had this insight, like, ask the owner if he knows of any dog walking jobs. And he said, oh yeah, Asha. She's the only women-owned dog walking person in the city. She's looking for help. It was like, you know what I mean? Like when it just hits you and you're like, oh, this is mine. This is me. Yes. And I mean, it was like within 3 days, I had the job. And ironically, what happened was like after what taxes came out, I was essentially making cash under the table that matched ish what I was bringing home from that without all of the some of the,
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so someone listening to that might be like really put their nose up to that story, but I think it's a great example of when you can
Also
lean in.
a good check-in with where you are in your own ego as well. It's
Yes.
very good check-in with yourself. Like, are you ready to, because obviously, as we spoke about, you have to trust. You've had that flicker of a flame the whole time, your whole entire life, and then you're just letting that flame grow and grow and grow until it just kind of engulfs you, like, okay, I've got to go with this now. But, as you said, like, you stepped into this dog walking, and you mentioned that you started healing yourself through that, and that was actually my next question. Obviously, when we trust something and we make that leap, stuff comes up. Stuff comes up from the depths of us, which we didn't even know was festering down there, because we may have stuffed it down there a long time ago and just really tried to forget about it, or it's not ours, it's ancestral, or something we've picked up collectively, whatever. It could be a ton of stuff. So, you said you were healing from addiction and everything. So that was kind of like you kind of slung the corporate job, took that massive step, and then basically stepped on your own healing journey at the same time.
Right. I mean, and it's all connected.
Yeah,
Try
totally.
to separate any of this is
Mm-mm.
silly at this point. Everything's
Yeah,
connected. Look at the world right now, right? I
definitely.
give another story because I love story. I'm a
No, I like
storyteller.
storytelling.
The story is so good. So another time this happened, a big leap I made was in 2018. We had already launched our own business and went off and started making our own money in 2013. Let's say my husband and I
Okay.
launched our own business in 2015. That was amazing, challenging, hard, struggle, all the things, right? And we grew and grew. But by 2018, I fully had shifted away from being in yoga and was having this soul purpose activation, right? So 2016 on, it was big for me, like, you're not going to be doing this anymore. You're going to be doing this. And this
Okay.
was in 2016. I was being called to lead the Wild Moon Society and gather women and priestesses around the world.
Oh,
Guess what?
wow.
Back then, no one was talking about this. People
That's
thought I
very true. That's
was
very true. It was all very hush hush under the table kind of thing.
thought I was nuts. You're leaving your husband's side in the gym to go do what? To lead moon? Like, what? So,
She just
anyways,
offered him a candle and said, "Why don't you join me? Pay for me." I don't know.
so and I was like, I was one of the first people, like, I had Zoom when Zoom came out. Like, no one knew what Zoom was, and I was on Zoom.
Wow.
Right, so I was doing this, like, digital groups, whatever. Eventually, I went into coaching, and this coaching package I was signing up for was, like, 10 grand. And
Mm,
my husband was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, are you joking?" Like, but I was so moved. I was tingling, soul on fire. I've got to do this.
okay.
And I said, I don't know where I'm getting. Like I got Jayme on to the love. My husband's name is Jayme too. Sorry, everyone. Um, he saw the flame in me. We're a power couple. So when we
Mm,
recognize that activation of soul within each other and we can really see it in each other, it's
brilliant.
like,
Yeah.
okay, I see it. I see this in you and I support you on this journey. So he said yes. I said yes, I signed up. I think we used our rent money to pay for my first payment.
Woo.
And it gave me like 2 weeks to try to come up with it. Yeah. Within, I think it was 2 days, we had an offer from one of our private clients whose wife had just had a horrific accident, and
Oh,
they wanted her to have a assistant, not like medical care, but like a lady in waiting, like a
okay.
someone who would be with her and hang out with her and help her with hair and help her with
I guess
shower and
that's an assistant, but on a, yeah.
literally, it was 2 grand a month for 5 months. It totaled the amount of the certification.
Wow.
Like, you can't make this stuff up, you know what I mean?
No.
It was like, deep bow, yo.
And
spirit.
this lady got someone to help her as well. So she was, she had someone for her to care for her too.
And so what I did in that time was I did that and I showed up amazingly energetically for her
Yeah.
with love, like her daughter almost, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and in that time, in that 5 months, it was also like, okay, I receive also that I am not doing this for the rest of my life and I can't even make it through to the 6 months from this. Like, and
Mm,
in that time, I worked it up and built it up and built it up and built and did all of this side stuff behind the scenes at night, early in the morning, like
yeah,
on weekends. Like, that's the truth of this too, is
of
when you
course.
come out of that matrix, what you really do see is the freedom of time that you do have and what you do with your time. So
Mm,
if I could go back to answering your question that you asked me like 7 minutes ago, LOL. When people are like, "What do I do?" This is what I first say is, as a Capricorn, I'd like you to pull out some paper and make some lists and
mm,
really look at, for example, what are you giving your time, energy, and money to?
yeah.
Where is it going now? Where is it being allocated?
And
For
seeing where your
example,
leaks are basically as well.
your leaks and also your treats and your
Mm,
deserves. I deserve this. I'm working so hard. I deserve this $200 sweater. I
okay.
deserve these 2 coffees out every day that cost 5 quid. Every
Mm,
I buy them. Start to add the stuff up. When we're in a job that doesn't serve us, we try to make ourselves feel better. And
yeah.
we do that by using what we have allocated, energetically, funds, money, to make ourselves feel better.
That's so much truth in there. Yeah.
So when we get clear about that, you can look at it and be like, "Oh, so if I wasn't in this job, you're telling me I'd save $1,000 of random buying? Could I put myself on a bit of a fixed budget
Yeah.
if I wasn't could I say no to those sneakers? I mean, I'm in
Mhm.
America, so I'm saying these things very obviously.
It's
What
absolutely
we see
fine. Yeah.
for, the consumerism that fills up the hole we're feeling, that is actually a soul gap, if you ask me.
Yeah. Actually, that's very clearly put and digestible and makes a ton of sense.
Another thing is boundaries and getting really clear about our energy and where we're giving out our energy and our pure source energy, which I'd say if you're an adult or if you have children, how much of that do we get a day? And I'm a generator, I'm a battery, I've got energy, and I'm telling you that, like, as a mama of 2 littles, like, it's like, oh.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I understand.
Put boundaries up around that. So years ago, I stopped being available for conversations that was, maybe coming in from someone who's had a few glasses of wine and they just needed someone to talk to and they were rambling and going on it. And 90 minutes later, you're like, oh, I gotta
Completely
go.
drained and yeah, yeah,
I'm empathizing with the person on the other end, but what I can't do anymore is be a free psychologist, psychiatrist, therapist for someone anymore. And
yeah,
I'm saying that specifically because I'm a coach. So before I actually got a coaching certification, I already had that energy field. The certification was a great thing. I already had that energy field so people would come to me with their problems all the time.
mhm,
And there was a beautiful exchange of energy. I'm not saying I was a victim, but I'm speaking to the other coaches out there.
yeah,
It made me feel good to help them.
yeah,
It built up my repertoire to be
mhm,
able to help people. I can handle almost any question someone gives me in my life right now. Business, strategy, marketing, self-coaching, life coaching, and you name it? So it helped me. There was an exchange there, but then I needed to remold that. And I started walking onto a more professional path. And when I did that, the money also went up.
okay. Very interesting. Good points. I think a lot of people are going to benefit from this conversation today. Definitely. I hope everyone's sitting there with their cup of tea or their cup of coffee and just, letting this all just filter in because, yeah, it's going to be highlighting the areas. You're going to be having those light bulb moments where you can think, okay, where am I actually doing that? If you can feel something reacting within you, you've got somewhere to look in yourself. So take this as a real kind invitation to just do a little bit of a inventory on yourself as well. Yeah.
And
So
last point.
yeah, go
Sorry,
for it.
I have to say because space, I feel like I need to talk about space for a minute.
Go for it.
When you start to see where you are, where your energy leaks are, where you're spending time and energy and money, there is not much space. There's no wiggle room. So when you start to set up those boundaries and when you start to become aware, it's really a consciousness shift, right?
Mhm.
It's an awareness level. You will then have more space. You'll have more space in your body, in your energy field, and in your
Yes,
spirit realm.
because you've created that space by, pointing out the leaks, pointing out where you've been like trying to numb yourself out basically to make yourself feel better, to get through something which you might not be completely enjoying right now because it's a way of means. So yeah, that's a very reflective process to look at it that way. I like that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So going back to the healing aspect of yourself, was that then, what did you feel like it was always layers coming off, or you were guided to modalities? Because obviously you've done all your business stuff, but you've obviously got a ton of wisdom and knowledge in the whole healing spectrum. Some of it is already there within you, but you fine-tuned stuff, learned new skills and everything. And we always know when we learn something new, that usually unpacks something for us, but we have to kind of heal on ourselves too. So would you like to mention a few things about that, please?
Sure.
Yeah.
I was a healing junkie, I want to say. I and I mean that in the nicest way possible.
I think a lot of people I think we an easy addiction to fall into.
Yes, I was like, I just replaced that with like soul healing. I was learning any modality I could get my hands on. I signed up for any certification, healing certification. Like I was fascinated. I felt free to be able to fully do this as
Mhm.
a woman on the planet and not be all the things, all of our
Yeah.
past life. But that there's like a freeing to this where you keep to yourself about it. You don't have to share it from the rooftops. You don't have to go on social media about it.
No.
Right. But once you start opening up and seeing these amazing tools and systems and processes and people and communities and oh yeah, at least 15 years of that, and
Mhm.
what I would say is, like, my maiden energy really I had the time and energy, I didn't have kids yet, you know what I mean? My maiden, the younger version of me that, was like, "Oh, lay it on me, certificate sign me up for this, I want" right, and then I became a mother. And the healing process shifted. The spiritual process shifted. My medicine shifted, and it all went internal. And
Mhm.
I started to really do some work with the Great Mother, with the Great
Yeah.
Cosmic Mother, and with Mother Earth. So I matured into, and you don't need children to do that. There are many maiden to mother to crone systems and understanding pathways out there. But as someone who leads and speaks and, I'm here for that.
Yeah.
That process inward was quite interesting, and that's another book I've got half written. Healing in the mother wound and being able to open up your vessel and prepare your body, mind, and spirit, not only for the children of light coming into the planet,
Yeah.
but for those of us that have them right now,
Yeah.
is that all of a sudden I didn't have 2 hours for ceremony when I wanted. It's like 2 minutes,
Yeah, of course. Yes.
right? I don't have days to put altars together.
No.
Not
And when
a
they start toddling around, they'd knock them down anyway, so
we've got this much space on a third shelf up there over in the bookshelf that maybe they won't crawl to.
yeah.
Put something that right? So everything shifted, and that's what I'm in, and I've been in for about 2.5, 3 years now.
But you are, you're
So
going within, you're creating your own temple within yourself. It's like
yeah,
we go into that remembrance that you don't have to have it visually there in front of you because you can have that visualization because you have that connection within yourself. So it's actually an invitation. This going within is like, okay, you've explored the great outside and all the modalities and getting all that nourishment and medicine from those around you, for those who've been part of that journey with you, for you to step into that next version of yourself, for you to step into up-leveling your medicine and you embodying more and more of who you are here to be. And then you have to have that incubation process, I'd say, going within, because you're mothering yourself again, you're rewiring, you're remothering, you're actually, you're growing into something else. It's another evolution. And what I like about that period, because I'm a mother myself, obviously I've gone through that too, and it's always an occurring thing. It doesn't just happen once, you know. As you said, you don't need to have to keep having babies for this to keep happening. It just evolves when the great mother says you're ready for it, you know. Basically, when you're connecting, it's like, okay, let's go deeper. Get those roots even further down. You know, you're going to root deep, deep down, or we're going to go up, 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 you know, and you're going to be that bridge. You know, you are here to be that bridge between heaven and earth. Basically, it's your light which is here on the planet. So you're going to have to learn to how to work that, how to, you know, as you say, launch it for yourself. But you know, you're your inner launch pad, and you need to be ready to stand on that. And you can only be ready to stand on that launch pad yourself when you've completely in clarity and alignment with what's going on. And I'm not saying we all walk around totally after that, we're all completely aligned. You know, we're living on planet Earth. We're human.
Yeah.
We have a human experience which we have signed up to go through. And that's polarity, which means we're going to get wobbles, we're going to get knocks, we're going to get big smacks in the face. We're going to go deep down and fall to our knees, but we're also going to have these beautiful, joyful moments. And that's just part of the process. So having that when you're going to those going on your knees moments, to know that you have got yourself, that you can always return to yourself, is very important. Sorry,
I
I went
think
on
it's
a tangent there. Sorry.
beautiful. You got to go back and watch that and write it down, because it's the whole point.
Yeah.
I think the whole point of being a human on planet Earth.
Yeah.
I think so many people are fascinated with ascension, but ascension is really inscension. You
It's
can only
intention, it's weaving that into your daily life, you know, weaving that so you can weave your light into making your life brighter, those around you brighter, and an end effect when everyone's doing that collectively for the whole planet, because we're not going to be here forever. And like you say, like I said in your bio, it's creating that planet for those who come after us, for the children, for the grandchildren, for the great grandchildren. At some point, we're going to be the ancestors.
you know, we're only going to be able to ascend as much as we can descend
Yes.
to ourselves. We are only going to be able to hold a pillar of light as much as we can anchor the
Yeah.
light within ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a not that's the side that's not spoken about, written about,
Totally not. No. Mm-hmm.
represented enough. And that's the mother work.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you know, that deep journey within to the womb. That's why I lead women on womb journeys, you know, and that's a side thing I don't even publicly
No,
share about.
you don't publicly
I
share
do.
that, but yeah, and that's just an amazing thing to do, because you know we are holding the energies. We were in fact in our grandma's wombs, you know, so it's just all interlinked. And some of those triggers you might be having, they might not actually be yours, you know. Some of that karma which keeps coming up, but you think, what have I done? You didn't do anything. You're here to clear it, my dear. So, you know, yeah. And it's all within, going within, where you actually can start connecting the dots, or connecting the stars if you want to make it more pretty. So yeah. Wow, we went off on one there, didn't we?
That's what we do.
So what would you say was the moment, you know, we've gone through the trusting, you know, leaving corporate six-figure world and walking dogs, being a yoga lady and teacher, and then, you know, really like inhaling all the various healing modalities which are out there, and then being there for other people, supporting them on their journey. When would you say was the moment? I mean, this is always something which is there's always going to be more moments, but like up to now, where you would just say, when was the point where you said, okay, I'm being unapologetically me. This is who I am. I trust myself. I'm on this healing journey. We all know healing doesn't have an end destination. It's all part of the human experience. When was the moment when you said, this is who I am, and I am going to celebrate it unapologetically and just share me, regardless what others think, with the world?
I would have to say it was 2018, and it was definitely, I wanna call it my shamanic death process, and I use the word shaman very lightly, but I
Okay.
do invite people to explore these processes and people who have these processes to share. And for me, that was while my mother was dying and I was helping my mother die, I was having miscarriages.
Oh,
So the womb I had come out of
yeah.
was dying, and I
Mhm.
was experiencing death in my womb.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof,
And it
that's
was,
heavy. Yeah.
so it wasn't like I was on my deathbed, but I was
Well, yeah, because you're grieving on multiple levels.
literally like generationally
Yeah,
gr
totally.
while yeah. So that was a wild ride. That
Mm.
and it was like a 9-month process. I mean, talk about a rebirth. And
Yeah.
when my mother died, it was like, you know, there's nothing holding me back. I mean, I've
Wow.
lost my favorite person,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And it shifted the relationship. I know your mom passed too, so I feel like of course our mothers were gonna come in and make us turn into weepy bitches on this call. Oh well. Sorry for swearing, but
It's
my
fine.
relationship with her now is just as strong and just as
Wow.
powerful as a guide on the other side. I have the 2 littles now. I experienced 6 losses before Goldie stayed in my womb space.
Wow, 6.
Mhm.
What? That's a huge amount.
And I had to go to those depths to be able to hold space
Yeah.
for the millions of families and women who are experiencing this and will experience this
Unfortunately, yeah.
moving forward.
Mm.
And this is spiritual work. This
Yeah.
is human, this is earth work, but this was the depth that my soul came here to experience so that I could hold a light up and say, I got you, I see you, I
I
feel
understand
you.
you. I feel you. I know. I understand. Yeah. And that's that just without even having to say those words. That it's like a plug in, like a connection, which is like there. Yeah. And, my mum's also passed. And what is a comfort and thought for me is, of course, I miss her like crazy. It's going to be next year, 20 years. And I'm just like, that's just like a ridiculous amount of years. It's like, how can that physically be possible? It's just ridiculous. But, I always like to think that my eyes can't always be my kids when I'm at work and they're at school. They've
Right.
got none got their eyes on her, on them. So
Yeah.
it doesn't make it easier. It doesn't always take away that pain, but it opens your eyes up to see it from a different perspective. So, and yours is obviously you had a very close relationship with your mom, which is expanded even closer. And she's you still got the telephone going on. You can still call each other, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I can't call her to come and babysit the kids and
No,
I
that's really, yeah, yeah.
but and at the same time, I am constantly being guided and directed by
Mm.
her. Actually, I gotta tell you this story. Sorry,
Yeah,
guys,
because she was very in tune herself, wasn't she?
was a spiritual teacher and she was also trying to write books. Or like even one of her children, she had spiritual books that she was writing and then children's books. And one
Wow.
of her children's books was at the illustrator when she was on her deathbed.
Oh,
So, and I'm writing books. I'm not writing books because she didn't write books. I'm writing books because this is my soul calling as well. But from
definitely.
my ancestor lineage, I am the one that is, I just finished a book this year, like, I'm sending it to people all the time right now. Like, I fucking did it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? I
yeah,
wasn't going to let that happen again,
yeah.
you know? But so I've been working with my mother over 5 years now on the other side.
Hmm.
Um, and just recently with everything that's going on, I've been standing up as a pillar of truth, and God has absolutely given me a white sword of truth and legions of angels and lots of divine spirit right now saying, please stand up for what's going on in the liberation
Yes.
movement that's happening on the planet right now. And it's the absolutely even though I'm telling you all these things, this is what I'm doing right now from November on this year has been some of the scariest shit I have ever done. And to stand up for truth for people on the planet right now is frightening. And thank God I have such a support system behind, but I basically was on my hands and knees being like, Spirit, are you serious? Like, you want me to say what? You want me to say what right now?
Mhm.
And I was just like, ancestors, like, y'all need to give me a sign. Like I'm not really a sign person anymore. Like I did that years ago.
But it's
Play with
like,
it, but
let's
now
go back to basics. Give me a sign.
literally, I was like, yo, you know me. I haven't like asked for a sign for a while, but like sister needs some help right now.
Uh-huh.
I was like, so I went on a drive. It was like I got a few hours by myself and I was going to the ocean, taking a road I always take.
Mm.
And I was coming around the corner and I had just been like I do a lot of ancestral work. I have a lot of Celtic energy in my bloodline and bones. So and I was like, "Oh, please give me a sign." And I pull up behind a car and the license plate is ROSEC. My mom's name is Rose. My maiden name is Jayme Rose. And the license plate says Rosie. And my whole family called her Rosie.
Oh,
Every-
wow.
And I was like, I was just like, I've driven this road for the last 7 years. I've never seen this license plate.
I
And
got chills. It's doing all that
so,
moving.
so I'm like driving and I'm like trying to like get a picture to show all my other mystical friends that like won't believe me in this moment. You know, of course they believe me, but I was like fumbling and I just heard real quick. It just dropped in. It said, look over. And I was like, what? I was like, okay. Cause I know when spirit talks to me, it's clear, it's direct, and they say it once.
Of course.
It was just look over. And I look over at the woman driving the car, blonde, bobbed hair, late 50s, 60s, nose just like my mother. And I literally just burst out. And I
Oh,
was like I was dry, I was just like shaking. I was like, did my mother just fucking appear on the planet to tell me it's okay to lead in light right now? Fuck. I was just like,
yeah.
hey, am I losing my mind?
Yeah,
Or is
that messes your head up. Yeah. Because then
right,
you
like,
start
or is
thinking,
this
okay, how much coffee have I had? Okay, how actually sleep deprived am I now? Okay, am I
right?
hallucinating or something like that? Yeah.
I'm like, no one's gonna believe, like, you
Yeah,
know what I
because
mean?
you're trying to rationalize that how we've
Yeah.
been told to rationalize things. Yeah.
And it was
Gosh.
like such a sincere, I work with different deities and I work with Mother Mary and I work with Yeshua and I work with the Magdalens and I work
Yes.
with, you know what I mean? Like I work with them, but to have my mother, basically,
Yeah.
someone that looks like my
And
mother
to
driving a
reappear
car.
in a way that you would recognize her.
And at that moment I said, okay, I am picking up this torch and I'm going to lead and I'm going to face the deepest levels of darkness we've ever seen on this planet right now.
Yeah.
And here we are, and that's what I've been doing. And I think that's, the future of my work. It's like, this is the platform of, this is the level that I have lifted myself up to. And just writing a book. I mean, I just finished a book. It's a colorful guidebook. I'm doing the behind the scenes editing and self-publishing stuff. It takes time. But like, what a way to like plant your flag in the ground than writing a book on it. And I knew again that was going to be a ribbon
Yeah. The
energy
big
that was
ribbon.
going to pump me up, so
Wow.
I
So
think
that
they're
one's sinking. That one's huge. That's really, really huge. Yeah.
oh, and I think for anyone hearing this, I like just to remind, I mean, you're hearing from two angel connectors right now. It's like there is so much divine support and assistance
Hmm.
on the planet for all of us.
Yeah. I know it's
All,
hard to believe when there's so much going on and people will be like, well, if that already was there, why is this and why is that? Polarity.
I mean, and that's actually, I've got a great answer for that.
Go
The
for it.
divine is not in control of free will.
Exactly.
This is man, this is the human. We're
Hmm.
facing the darkness of humanity
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
They can't interject. They can support, they can guide, they are helping. Oh
When
my,
asked, and
yeah.
only when asked. Yeah.
And this is our biggest litmus test. I mean, this is the biggest This is the awakening. I wrote this is the beginning of my book for soul purposes. Like you can call it the unraveling, the awakening, you can call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
This has been written about for centuries
Mm-hmm.
that we would get to this point.
Yeah.
And here we are.
We are. We are. And we've kind of got to work our way through it and, pave that path. So there is that better future for the kids and for those to come after our children and so forth. And, to those who are watching this today, what would be an important message, what you really feel that people need to hear right now?
I'm going to be real with you on a human level. Is that, and especially like I'm a leader in the spiritual community. I have to show up as a spiritual teacher right now. I have to.
Yeah.
I'm being called. I have to show up on that, on a
Yeah.
soul level, purpose, and all that. But no, this is like me really shining my light as a spiritual leader
Mm-hmm.
and teacher.
Yeah.
Is that we have to experience the human side of it. And I think a lot of people are trying to push that away.
Mm.
Let's go deeper with that. There's a lot of grief that people are going, when this hits you, this is what I've been writing about. When this hits you, I hope there is someone to hold you.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And this isn't a battle. I've been writing this. This isn't a battle. This is the birth process.
Yeah. And both births are like deaths. And
And
it's
it's light
not,
and dark.
yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean?
And yeah, it's transformation.
So what are the emotions that accompany this ride?
Oh,
Well,
a whole ton of emotions. The ones which we'd go classify as not positive, but they're an emotion. We can't judge it what it is. It has to flow through us. We have to channel that emotion through our body.
and there's so much beauty. This is where the medicine is.
Mm.
Having the grief process, rage, sacred rage. How many thousands of years have we as women been talked out of or shunned out of our feminine holy rage? You know? So there's a lot to the human side of it. And unfortunately, I think there's been this like bizarre conversation or just like a energy around like, no, we're ascending. So it's just unity consciousness and we're all just gonna be up here. And it's like, whoa, actually, we need to feel it that the portal for ascension is within the heart.
Of
This is
course.
the tool of the next century, of the
Of
next step,
course. Of course.
the heart.
Yeah.
Like this is the
As the
womb.
Akashic records, I go to the Akashic records through my heart, through the portal of my heart. When you're sitting in meditation, where are you returning to? Your heart. You're moving that mind consciousness into your heart consciousness.
And it's not fluffy.
No.
Art is an advanced tool that we are using maybe 2% of, if you ask me. So it's an activation.
It's insanely powerful and huge and has an energetic level which I can't put into words, and I wouldn't even have the scientific knowledge behind it either. Yeah.
Another imagery for those of us that have seen the pictures of Jesus Christ, where he's got 2 fingers pointing to his heart and
Mhm.
2 pointing.
Very true.
It's all been right here for us, right in our faces.
Yeah.
The whole time. That was not about him.
No.
No, and when he was doing healing, this is why I study the Essenes, I study the Magdalene energy, I study Anna, his grandmother is my teacher.
Yes.
I mean, she was ascending before they
Oh,
were
yeah.
here. Okay, right? Like,
Yeah. There's not enough information on her. She's not spoken about, and she really should be spoken about. Yeah.
gives me chills. Like, that's my teacher. This is the level of spiritual work I'm doing, right?
Mhm.
When he was helping people and he would the level of presence he could hold when he was doing any healing work, he was putting his hands up and speaking Aramaic and saying, be open. And within that, just that permission,
Mhm.
people to open up in their energy field. They were self-healing themselves in front of him.
Yes. And we all have the ability to tap
Heal
into that.
your name, heal thyself. Like,
Heal thyself, yeah. Trust, heal, be thyself. It's all there. It's all within.
I can feel that people are definitely having activation. I can feel in my heart right now that this
Yeah, I
is
can feel.
like,
I can feel.
whoever's watching this. You
Yeah.
welcome. Okay, wait, one more human thing I wanna say for this is because people women in my community, I've been very open and honest, with my community members as a spiritual leader right now.
Mhm.
And a lot of women are saying to me, like, "I feel, like I'm unraveling, that I feel like I'm spinning out." And I
Yes.
said, "Yes, these are great words.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is." And
Mhm.
here's the thing, it's like, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist, but hear me out for a minute, right? It's what we're doing is we're spinning out of the matrix where it's toppling down. The house of cards has fallen.
Yes.
And it's simply, I don't need to get into politics. All I have to say is the world that we're living in right now isn't working, and we all know it. And a lot of us are here, most of us are here to birth a new world.
Mhm.
And before we have to kind of unscrew ourselves from that
Yeah.
to be able to come out and look at it and be like, "Oh, yeah, you're right, like, this is not really working here." And that right there, that awareness, that conscious shift is so scary for people, and that's why I have empathy for them.
Oh,
Your
completely.
world is going
And
to be
even if you understand and been doing this work for a while, if you sit in it yourself and suddenly your life starts really unraveling around yourself again, and you're like, hey, but I've been doing all the work. What's going on? Why is this happening? It's not, no one's exempt from it. You just get to learn how to cope with it better, learn how
Yeah,
to process it, learn how to ride the ribbon maybe a little bit more graciously as the time before. You're still going
yeah,
to bump off at the end, you're still
yeah,
going to
yeah.
probably land on your bum and have to pull yourself up again. But yeah,
So I think what a lot of people are experiencing is deeply their human side and the release of a mind matrix, a control matrix, whatever we wanna call it. There's other names for it. I think that
there's
puts
so much things you can say. But at the end of the day, you know, it's like when you're sitting in the Merkaba, you've got the triangle over the top and then the other triangle, and it's like spinning in different directions. You're kind of whipping off all the gunk. I like to say all the gunk or all the stuff which is no longer serving you. You're being stripped down to your core because you're being invited down to go deeper with yourself. And as you said, it's not pretty. It's not comfortable. And, we live in a very overwhelming world. We all have very busy, very full on, very, lots of stuff going on outside of us, which can pull us in if we're not careful. And we can't always be on our guard 100% of the time.
Yeah.
It's just not possible. And you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. And our nervous systems are also frazzled by this too. So,
Right.
that's a lot. And think about all the light which is coming into the planet at the same time.
That's a
You
lot.
wonder why you're going a little bit crazy. Well, seriously, you're doing amazing. Just so
Yeah.
anyone who's watching this and you're feeling crazy, we see you, we salute you. You've got this, okay? We have our faith in you. And, I go through stuff too. I'm sure you do too. Yeah.
I
So,
mean, like, I've been giggling with some of my people, and it's like, I literally in one day, like, even maybe on the tide schedule, 6 hours in, 6 hours out, I can go from, like, "This is amazing. I'm so grateful. Life is beautiful.
yes.
Look at my children. I write books at home. I'm in," like, "La, la, la, there's the
Yeah.
sea," like, on my knees, sobbing, like,
Yep.
"What is wrong with," you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just like, I mean, ba-boom, ba-boom,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm
The
just
highs and
me.
the lows.
Yeah,
High
like,
tide, low tide.
so I feel like I just am resonating with anyone else we are resonating with people on the call who are just like, "Yeah, this is
Yeah.
not an easy few months,
No.
years."
There's more to come.
Yeah.
a lot more.
And right, let's talk about that, right? Like people are like, cool, this will be over by Christmas, right?
Really? Do you think?
Right. And it's like,
No.
no,
Sorry to disappoint anyone there. No.
only speeding up. I'm hearing from my guides, from angels, from human design, from astrology. It's actually only speeding up until until 2030 type of vibe.
Yeah.
You know, in the next 7 years are going to be monumental. However, what I am picking up on, seeing, hearing, channeling, all of that is that it is what we have all envisioned. And this is why the visioning and the holding the grace and the peace and the hope and the, I mean, all of those things, and like holding the vision of the world we do want to live in is so powerful right now. Because in the collective, in the grid, us holding the highest vision of how we can live and be and operate on this planet together equally, peacefully, beautifully is there.
Yeah.
And if we get enough people to get behind that vision,
And it comes
oh,
through. Yeah.
so it's like, this is the work, Sister
Yeah.
Fred. This is it.
Called
And
light work.
right. And the
Yeah.
speed up of it. And it's like, this is just reminding us to go deeper into our systems. For example, we're hearing loads more about trauma informed stuff. Great. We're hearing loads more. I've got the women in my community, like specific women that I'm working with, but loads that are helping with the central nervous system. For the first time ever, we're hearing and teaching and learning about the
I
central nervous.
know. I know. It's just like, yeah. And like,
Yeah,
how many of us are going through burnouts? You know?
right.
Because we need to go through it to understand it. And believe me, it's not pleasant. Um, but yeah.
So the tools are here simultaneously, right? The systems, the learning, the processes are also rising and
Yeah.
coming to life with us in this moment.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it will just be a deeper invitation to go into thyself, go into yourself.
yeah, definitely. And, that I want to extend on that invitation, for people who are watching this and thinking, oh my gosh, Jayme, I feel you. You're speaking to my soul. I need to connect. How can people connect with you?
Oh goodness, I feel like that's such a good question. I wasn't really prepared for that. But like, on social media, they will see my name.
Mhm.
Um I have my own personal accounts you can follow me on, but Launch Your Light is my handle. And
Yeah.
that's the name of my book right now
Yeah.
too. So Launch Your Light is very simple and easy. And I also wanted anyone who's watching this, I'm giving my book out to anyone who feels so called to read it for free right now. It's just a
Wow.
colorful guide.
That is gold.
It's literally from soul to strategy. So it goes from understanding your soul work and getting really clear about that all the way to the end of the book is like, here's some business strategy, here's a sales page outline, here's what is so literally from soul to strategy.
And if you really need someone to hold your hand right now and walk you through that process, that's a very gracious and very kind offer, Jayme. So, thank you for sharing that with the community. I'm sure a lot of people are going to benefit from this. And yeah, let's just get it out there. Definitely.
And
Oh,
I'm here for, and like, I'm a writer. I'm constantly trying to just get energy, light work, message, story out to people, guidance out to people. I'm doing so many live videos now. Like, me, I'm like, can I live in a shack by the sea alone,
yeah.
please? And the
Yeah.
good Lord is like, hi, we're gonna need you with a microphone like every day. And I'm like, but here we are. So I'm just showing up. Like, I'm tapping in. I'm trying to be as graceful in this process as I can and hone that feminine womb rage and use it where I need it. So I'm here for anyone that needs it. And I've got a group, I also took I have the Soul Purpose Collective. That's my soul purpose group.
Mhm.
And I just rebranded from Soulpreneur into that because I really cornered myself into only working with people who are having businesses. Now I have a lot of people I've always had, but I have more people coming to me being like, I'm called to run a nonprofit. I'm called to
Yeah.
run this circle of
Amazing.
system, and it has
Mhm.
nothing to do with money. So I had to pop that open. Another pivot, guys. You know what I mean? Like I've been pivoting for years.
Definitely. And it
I have
goes
a
into
whole
the Earth Guardian way as well. It's like really working with the planet. So
So now it's called the Soul Purpose Collective, which just dropped in and it felt really good. And it's only 47 a month for people to join that. And you get access to 5 of my top business courses, 50 supporting business videos. I'm a Capricorn. I can't stop, won't stop. Sorry. And I put all of it, right? How cool to
and she's
just
a
say,
generator.
do all of it. You get it, you
Yeah,
get it,
but
you
it's
know?
not like you've just been doing this since yesterday. This is like
Oh,
years of,
yeah,
years of
it worked, yeah.
building and
Years
working
of
into.
listening to the soul call to do
Yeah,
these things.
yeah,
And then I'm live on Fridays, about 3 Fridays a month, for the women in that group, and that's it, you know? And, like, for anyone to hear this, yeah, see how beautiful it can be,
mm,
where I've done the work and I've made it digital and I've made it user-friendly, and now all I have to do is show up on Fridays?
yeah. But it's
Why
also
can't we
not for people who need you right now as well, which is,
and right, like, the invitation for women to not be working their asses off
mm.
all the time. It can be a light schedule.
Well, let's leave it on that
Yeah?
very positive note, because
Okay.
that's a nice way to leave it. Thank you so much for your time today, Jayme. Thank you. This cuppa was brewing and it brewed really well. So I'm very, very happy that, we've had the time to connect and get this out here today, because it's been absolutely beautiful. And I think there's a lot of medicine for a lot of people here. And even if that medicine is just actually being understood,
Yeah.
then do take
Oh,
care of yourself, as well, the people who are watching this, definitely. And, reach out to Jayme. She's there. Get a copy of her book. She's giving it away. Take this opportunity, especially in times right now. This is the moment to kind of seize the day and, yeah, tap into your own magic and really start launching your own light and being that pillar of light, not only for yourself, but for those around you. We all need to be lighting up the world, basically. There's enough heaviness, there's enough darkness, there's enough trauma. We need to get the flashlights out and try brighten things up much more. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And everyone
for
who's
having
watching, have a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, depending where you are in the world. And we look forward to connecting with you again soon for another cup of self-empowerment. Take good care of yourselves, and bye-bye.
Bye.